Is meme coin season back again? SPX6900 almost doubled in the last week. It's a top performer among the top largest cryptocurrencies. The question is, how much longer can this rally last? Is this another orchestrated pump and dump? Are we actually going to see a turnaround? Let's have a look at the on-chain data, the data most people are not considering. So have a look at this. This is the top 100 cryptocurrencies ordered by their performance in the last week, and SPX6900 is up 72%. This is how that looks like on a chart. Meme coin trading is a roller coaster. But as with so many things in life, it's always important to be early. I published several videos on SPX6900 on this channel. To be more exact, it's 7 videos. The first one is published on the 30th of September 2024. That video got pretty much average views, and it was published when the price was still at 11 cents. Or in other words, over here, just because the massive price explosion that saw us go up by more than 1000%, then came the fatal crash of more than 80%, and now we are recovering. This is what we are talking about. How much more upside is there, realistically speaking? Now, when the token was released in the early days, it was only available on the Ethereum chain. Since then, it got ported over to the base chain, but also to Solana. So with more versions of the token, of course, more demand can get captured as well. The majority of liquidity and trading volume still happens on Ethereum though. On Ethereum, we've got 38,000 holders. On the base chain, we've got 76,000 holders. And on Solana, we've got 50,000 holders. Now, this sends off the impression that all of those blockchains are pretty much equally important. But that's not true. Once we dive deeper into the data, we do see quite a bit of skewness. What we've got over here is an overview of charts that I like to present regularly on this channel. This is the number of small holders, medium-sized holders, and large holders. So on the left side, we see the number of wallets that have 2,000 tokens. So at the current price, a bit over $1,000. In the middle, that's 20,000 tokens. On the right, that's 200,000 tokens. So we're looking at $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 of minimum holding to be counted in such a chart. Now, this is the data on Ethereum, and we can clearly see how the whales tend to long-term rather sell off, how the medium-sized holders did participate in the rally of September 2024, but how it's really small retail that bought the most during that time. Now, here are the exact same thresholds, but for the base chain. It looks like the accumulation here by small retail and medium-sized retail hasn't really stopped. It continues to go on. We've got the same selling of the whales that we've already observed on Ethereum, but what I want you to notice here is just the magnitudes. So there are only 20 wallets on the base chain that have at least 200,000 tokens, or roughly $100,000 worth of the token. But on the Ethereum chain, we've got more than 20 times that number. Isn't that fascinating? The number of total holders on Ethereum is smaller than the number of total holders on Base. But really, all the heavyweights, all the whales, they've got all of their money on Ethereum, not on Base. Base is only used by the small guy, and the small guy continues to accumulate on Base. The accumulation has slowed down on Ethereum. But then there's also Solana with its 50,000 holders. What about the whales? This is the number. It's 73, so 3 to 4 times of what we have on Base, but still less than 1/5 of what we see on the Ethereum chain. Medium-sized retail has already stopped buying, and small retail still buys a little bit. So really, the price discovery tends to be in the hands of the whales on Ethereum. They've got most capital. But then there are also the centralized exchanges, right? What about them? What about the market makers? Are they potentially manipulating the price here because SPX6900 outperformed all the rest of crypto in the last week? Because when we just look at the number of holders across all of those chains, we haven't really seen that much more accumulation in the last 7 days. Yes, there were a few small retail investors, but that was completely offset by the whale selling. Now here's the trading volume of different exchanges. And no surprise, Uniswap is still relevant. It's got 11% of trading volume, but we've also got Bybit, and Bybit has more trading volume. And here is probably what's going on. This is is the perpetual futures. So this is the bets on the price. This has been led by the Binance futures market. And whenever we enter a bet on a price with leverage via the perpetual futures, the centralized exchange or the counterparty has to take somewhat of a hedging position. So Binance is likely buying in the background while people speculate short term on SPX6900 via derivatives. Now, why do I say short term? Because everybody that wants to hold a token long term just buys spot, because the financing costs of perps tend to be pretty high. So when we don't see accumulation on chain, when we don't see a lot of new people buying the token on chain, at the same time we see all of that trading volume on the perps, I think this is rather a short-term thing. Perpetual futures volume is short-term speculative money, spot volume is long-term accumulation. And again, it appears as if all of this is driven by the perps. Clearly, the overall situation in crypto has changed recently, and there seems to be one event that started it all off. What we've got over here is the Bitcoin price, and this red circle marks when Donald Trump launched his meme coin. So that's this over here. Most people got burnt with that meme coin. If you bought this in the first few hours after launch, you made money. If you didn't, you lost money. Since the launch, Bitcoin lost 21% of its value. Of course, the Trump token lost much more. A lot of other altcoins also lost more. And so the majority of people lose, of course, when the market looks like this. There's pretty much nobody that has their entire crypto portfolio in Maker or in Bearer or in Bitcoin Cash. Even if you hold those tokens, you probably have a diversified portfolio and you're down with all of those other tokens. Now here's something that's not so obvious. We see Bitcoin over here. Bitcoin went up by 14% in the last year. And this is now the top 100 ordered by their performance in the last year. And there are a few altcoins that did better than Bitcoin. Two of them being gold derivatives, so PEXG and Tether Gold. But there's also others that performed slightly better. But the vast majority of altcoins actually performed much, much worse. If you picked a random altcoin in the top 100 1 year ago, you've got roughly an 80% chance that you underperformed simply Bitcoin. And that's of course a problem, right? Because altcoins have more risk, and so in theory, they should also perform better, especially during times when Bitcoin tends to go up. And so I don't try to find the needle in the haystack. I don't try to pick the bearer coin in order to then make money. I do the exact opposite. I bet on the vast majority of altcoins doing worse than Bitcoin. And most of the time, that strategy makes money. Have a look at this, for example. This is Matic relative to Bitcoin, a very constant underperformance. Or this is Balancer relative to Bitcoin. Again, a very constant underperformance. And we can make money from that relative valuation. We don't have to bet on Balancer or on Matic going down versus the US dollar. We can bet on it doing worse than Bitcoin and make money when this thing continues to go down. Or we can also mirror that chart, right? We can just bet on this continue to go up. This is now Bitcoin relative to Matic. That's the logarithmic chart. This is the linear chart. So why does this happen? The reason is tokenomics, right? It's the altcoins that print more and more tokens, and that token allocation goes to the insiders, it goes to the developers. And for meme coins, we don't necessarily have an expanding supply, but for meme coins, we tend to have a lot of ownership by the insiders as well that simply sell off over time. And that's why Bitcoin performs so well versus all of those altcoins. And that's why I believe those are the kinds of charts we want to bet on. Yes, we can of course try to time Bitcoin itself, and we can try to buy this at 16K and then sell it at 100K. And this is a possible way to make money. I'm also trying to time Bitcoin. But why would we try to pick the few altcoins that perform still okay? Why not just flip this thing around and make money when those bubbles are red? So for example, over here on the 6th of December, I have made a premium update video how I have sold some of my Bitcoin because a liquidity crunch was incoming. So that was over here. I've made another announcement on the 25th of February how I've sold all of my speculative Bitcoin and how I'm selling all of my altcoin positions. And that was over here. I opened a position betting on falling prices of Chainlink on the 23rd of January. I opened a short position on Dogecoin and on PancakeSwap on the 14th of February. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I've now closed the Chainlink position, so it lost 42% in the span of a few weeks. I've also closed the Cake short, which went down versus BNB by 27%. And I've also closed the Dogecoin short, also in profit. So really, when you know what you're doing, if you know how to do the proper risk management, that you don't get liquidated, and when you have the odds in your favor during times like this, when most altcoins underperform Bitcoin, then it is rather straightforward to make money like this. We don't have to find the needle in the haystack. We don't have to make 100x returns with a random meme coin. We can simply just let our capital compound by making 20% here and 40% over here. Most people are scared of betting on falling prices, but that's why I've made dedicated tutorial videos on the topic: how to do the proper risk management, how to set up those positions also in DeFi and Web3, not just with centralized exchanges, how to do this cost efficiently, and also how to select the right assets to short. There's more than 100 tutorial videos in total in premium. The link is down below. It's thebitcoinstrategy.com. Of course, I'm also sharing in detail how I currently see the market. There's a premium update video every 3 to 4 days. And I challenge you to look at other influencers, what they said during those times, right? Have a look at the date, have a look at the title of those different premium update videos, and let me know who said already on February 18th that it might make sense to bet on falling prices, or that crypto stopped expanding in the last 2 to 3 weeks, or how your influencer is selling aggressively. I don't really see many other influencers saying it like it is. Most YouTube channels just sell hopium. Most YouTube channels just want to push up their own bags, but they're not really looking realistically at the prices. They're not really looking at how much are people actually already in profit and when will that profit be taken. So if you appreciate during times like this that I keep it real, then of course feel free to give this video a like. Feel free to also subscribe. I publish videos regularly, and of course feel free to also check out premium. The link is down below. Looking very much forward to seeing you there as well. Cheers.